All right. I am Jam Boom Boom.
I'm Drea.
And we are here behind the curtain for the Big House audio play. What's going on, Drea?
What's up?
Hey. It's good to see you again. In the flesh.
Right.
Let's get into the Big House.
Okay.
So, Drea plays the waiter. And I play the man. Just Be Free plays the fisher. And then also added on last minute was Iman Journey, JDB, for the news anchor. And then Jackie New for Thomas Barnes, who did, I don't know if you heard it. Maybe we can hear it after this. But
no, I didn't
her,
hear that part.
because she hit me up and she was just like, I can do like man voices. I was like, okay, let's see. She did it. No, she really did that. She really did. I was just like, I was driving listening to it. I was like,
Yes. Okay, that is probably going to be hilarious.
No, yeah, it's going to be so good.
his role by itself is just already like, it was kind of like mystery vibes. So did you write in parts?
There's that voicemail that's at the end. There's that voicemail it was more like stage directions, but I kind of put all the lines right there
into a voicemail.
Yeah, so Jackie New did that, and I want to say thank you for bringing it up, because I remember you was on the open panel for Flight Boss, and you had brought. I was driving too. Speaking of driving, and I heard your voice. I was like, oh, that's Drea. And then I heard you bring. I was like, like every time it get, I'll be like
going through life, like, yeah, my life ain't shit. I can't get financial aid, but
that's some real shit. That was it was like, where do you have Gemini in your house? I think the live was like, fuck
I have
you
Gemini
too.
in 11th house,
Got Gemini in the 7th, 8th. But and it's Gemini season, and I'm hanging out with a Gemini anyway. So the vibes is right. But yeah, I want to get into, I guess, like your overall impressions first before getting like specific.
I liked it as far as it being like one of those like mysteries of like life after death, or like what's the calm like when you're no longer here, and that part is kind of like it's paralyzing, because it's like, oh, like even having that thought of like when I'm like having a thought about being here but not being here, like I don't have many thoughts about being other places and not being there. Like I'll have dreams and things like that, but I won't have like full on like, oh, I remember when I lived my last life. Like it's not like that. So being in that moment of like, okay, like somebody is like may or may not be living, like maybe in a coma, maybe, you know, just somewhere else experiencing things, can't remember like where did you just come from type thing, and then being the person to work there, it's just like, damn, bitch, like what was you doing? What was you doing to get stuck in a form like that? Whereas though, like, you just like, those people are coming and going, but like they're coming and going in places that you're very rooted in, like establishments, like a whole event that you're like working with. So like this spirit is just coming and going, but you are in that moment, and you didn't set up shop type shit, like working in a whole establishment.
No, that's a deep dive. Yeah. That's a deep dive, and I'm glad that you took that. I just want to say, I remember first like posting myself on Instagram, and I was just like, is anyone into like doing audio plays? And you were the first person to hit me up. So I'm just thinking of that moment and to this moment, and how like full circle that is. So I want to say thank you so much for like being down for like some, you know, internet theater, you know, art making type shit.
For some a dumb ways to die. Like, you know,
we done been through it, but this is a long time coming. So I just wanted to say that as you were talking, it made me think of that. Yeah. But I'm so glad to have someone like you to be a part of it, because you are thinking deeply about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's acting, and it's like voice acting, but you do see the, you know, you can read between the lines, and I'm glad that either it's apparent or it's not, but you still are able to like get the levels and the layers. And I was just very interested in keeping these characters like neutral. Like originally I had, because it was a part of this series that I'm crafting, and like the Jam character is like central, but I was like, it doesn't need to, like Jam doesn't need to be in it, so like let's just make it the man, let's just make it the waiter. And then that whole idea of like the waiter waiting on something was just something that, I mean, obviously as a joke, but then like what are they waiting for? Like they're waiting for the right opportunity to leave or to
expand, like to do something different. Like it was just kind of like, it was hitting home just because like that's kind of like what I do, but I've never like thought of it like me like dying and coming back to that, or like even paying attention to dreams where I'm like working and like how that shit is like, those turns into nightmares. Like even if it was like a really good dream, it's like why the fuck am I waking up in a Taco Bell's uniform? Like, why am I in my dream at the Taquito Taco Bell? Like, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Corporations in
like,
your mind.
Exactly.
Oh, hell no. Yeah. I wanted to ask about, I think I remember, like, in one of the directions, and thank you for taking, like, all of the directions. I mean, like, you're a natural. So it like, when working with people, especially over the internet, it's like not to say like, oh, that was good or that was bad. It was more like to kind of like guide the imagination so then the voice can come out saying something different. And I want to ask, like, what was it like recording, like, you're recording like maybe a microphone or on the phone, but like you're on the phone. What was that like? Like,
it was actually mad dope just because I had got a new phone and I was like using this app where I could like re-record. And that was my thing, whereas those, like, what if I say it, like, kind of good, but then, like, the next time I say it a little better? So, like, I was able to, like, literally just keep doing that. And then I sent y'all, like, a put-together version of what I had already, like, chopped up.
Okay, yeah.
So I probably had, like even if it was, like, 15 minutes worth of audio I sent you, it was probably, like, over an hour worth of audio that I had that I just kept re-recording. So that part was kind of cool, like, just to be able to match up that time and like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I said it a little this way this time, but like, let me say it a little different.
I appreciate that. Yeah, like different takes.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like perfectionism? Is
that
okay? Yeah.
I was gonna say it's that Virgo Mars.
It was given
Virgo Mars in the second house with Chiron there.
Bring it back.
Yeah, just bring it back. Just, like, that was Chiron. Like, girl, you're come on, you're gonna be your own thing. Like,
your character talked the most throughout, whether it was like talking directly to like the man, the customer, or your coworker, and then also mostly talking just out loud. Yeah. Like, what was that connection that you had with that character of just someone who like speaks their thoughts?
Like, I do that a lot. Like, I used to do it a lot out loud, but then I just started to like mind chatter. Yeah. But now I'm like practicing just doing it out loud more, just because it's like, you'll go like days. Well, it's different now because I have a child, so I can't go days without like hearing my own voice type shit. Like, where you gotta like, like, do I have how do I make vows? Like, let me hear something outside myself. But yeah, I like to talk out loud.
No, yeah, heard. That your character takes like a whole. It has an entire arch, like going from just like mundane to like, bam, the realization that I have to quit. What was that like, as far as getting into the narrative? Like, writing it, I kind of left it open-ended where the waiter doesn't really say anything, but kind of like just leaves. Yeah. Like, what were your impressions on that and the ending?
It was a vibe for me. Like,
okay.
That's how I treat. I'm quick to walk up out of establishment like a thief in the night. Like, I'll be clocked in and clocked out in a second. Motherfuckers try to figure out where did I go. So I was like, whoa. I too would have, had that moment of like, yeah, I gotta like, quit. But then like going about it, like sometimes you just gotta say fuck it. Like,
fuck it.
After so much, like, it's no going back and forth with people or trying to get people to see your way or. I'm underwork, I'm underpaid. Motherfucker, like, just the vibe. Like, you can't be oblivious to the fact that, like, people are spending, like, 30, 40, 50, 60 hours in your establishment and then, like, not recognizing, like, oh, like, cost of living.
Yeah. Like, we were just talking about that. Like, yeah. That was one of the biggest themes. I kind of, I don't recall exactly where I saw this, but like I'm huge about like etymology and like root words and all that. And I remember looking up like Baltimore is like an Irish word and it means the big house. Now I might put like a little disclaimer or something in this video just to like fact check myself, but I think that's what Baltimore means, like literally the big house. So I was thinking like the big house makes me think of the slammer. I don't know if that's like a colloquial
it reminds
or
me
like
of the slammer, and then when you get to the bowl part of it and how bowl was like the one of the creatures that was like harboring people. Like,
yeah.
In the world.
No, yeah. So when you were thinking about like those deeper meanings and like the motif of like quitting, like the like getting out, or at least becoming aware that you're a part of a bigger house or like a bigger system infrastructure, and you could be at the bottom of the barrel. I really wanted to play with that metaphor of like, because I hear that all the time being from Baltimore, like like crabs in a barrel. Yeah. And like it took me a while to actually realize or like experience rather, because like I knew what I meant, but then like you experience it, like people are very like to themselves, like very.
Because it's just like when you think about like how did you even get into the barrel? Like let's start there. How did you get caught up?
How'd you get caught up?
How do you get caught up? And then once you get caught up, where you at in the caught up? Because it'd be some shit that you can get out of real quick.
Yeah.
Then when your ass at the bottom, like, you can't get out of that real quick. Like, you can't get out of that debt real quick. You can't get out of that situation real quick. Like, you at the bottom.
It took me to realize just like, you know, I mean, it might take some people going to jail to realize. It might take some people, you know, whatever other situation. But just to kind of like make that a reality with where I am, you know, as far as just like thinking about my own existence, like, I'm got it the worst, I also don't got it the best, but where do we expand and how do we get up out of here instead of just becoming another tale, another Baltimore story, another statistic, that type of thing.
I was even riding down the streets and I'm just like, I'm about to start taxing motherfuckers. Like, I'm going to hire some motherfuckers, we going to clean up the streets and shit, and then I'm sending bills to the city that you owe me for the services. Let me show you the before and after. Then I'm going to get the motherfuckers come out here, pour some concrete down all Parent Parkway.
Come on.
Send y'all ass a bill. Y'all come get out here. I'm taxing motherfuckers. Y'all waiting too long. Like, people who have houses and buildings that they own the deeds to, alive and well, but they don't want to fix up the building. You're fucking up the property value. Like, you're gonna have to get taxed. Like,
and we're in the position to speak up and to say something. Now that's good. Do that.
I'm taxing motherfuckers. Like,
shoot.
I should be able to walk down the sidewalk without feeling like I'm about to get sucked into the damn trees and shit. Like, come on.
Like, damn, am I the trash? Like, golly, how y'all making us
feel? Am I the bottom of the barrel?
Like, damn.
Like, is this giving bottom of the barrel?
It's giving bottom
like,
of the barrel crab cake.
I cannot.
But yeah, that's that. I think just thinking about like the narrative and you know, I on the surface level though, like I really wanted it to be writing it. I didn't want a narrator this time around. I wanted like the sounds, like walking into the store.
Oh
or, like,
my god! And then that was my favorite
door.
part. Like, even with like, especially the beginning. The beginning just like catches me right away. Like, I feel like, oh snap, I'm watching a movie. Like, not watching nothing, but like I'm like, oh shit, like what is going on? Like that, like so the beginning of it is real good. But then like even when it's just like the mundane, like talking back and forth, the random kitchen noises that's in the background, or like the little shh from the rain and stuff, like that added a lot to the story. Yeah,
I'm glad. I really wanted like just because like I hear often, you know, like, the audience is smart. Like, the audience, not that writing a narrator is saying that the audience is not smart, just thinking, like, if people need, like, okay, and now the waiter walks in the back. Like, it kind of breaks it, or, like, breaks the narrative being unfolded. But, yeah, just the kind of, like, it makes me think of, like, SpongeBob and Patrick inside of the imaginary box. Beep, beep, beep.
Right.
Being on Robot Island. They on Robot Island.
Like, and even when, like, it transitions to, like, a live play, I would like for it to still have... I like those plays where it's, like... the people are on the sides and stuff, like, making the noise. Yeah. Because I feel like that would even add, like, a more, a comedic, you know, just, like, back into it. Especially when Jess is, like, doing her long part. And, like, the music just, like, keeps going. But it reminds me of, like, the little Krabby Patty small violin. Like, just a sad, sad story. Just keep on going. And then, like, to actually have somebody, like, actually playing the music. You know, as they're going.
The vision. Yeah. That's the goal. They call that, in, like, the movie world, like Folly plays, where like they'll have like people on set like making all the sound effects and stuff. And folks around here have been telling me like, get into that. So you see the vision. That's exactly it. And this is something that can be easily transferred to a stage play. It only takes 3 people, and then maybe some people doing the stuff. But yeah,
this is so. I think they are so cool, especially when the people who are doing the instruments are still like kind of, you know, like they're acting along and like with it as well, like, so it gives it that like, ooh, what's going on? Like, y'all just
got the rain stick,
right?
Just be doing that. But yeah, any questions for me?
Okay, so like, okay, questions for you.
Yeah. Or just like talking points, or like.
Okay, so how did you feel? Like, when you were, like, coming up with, like, what space were you in when you were coming up with this story?
It started with that, like, environment. I was thinking of my environment. I was thinking, like, it actually started out as, like, purely kids, like, script, like, for children. As for, like, a children's story. but it was more so, I was more so like writing for Pixar, but I'm like, let me be in reality. I'm like, this is not a Disney movie. What can I work with my resources? So I actually like left it alone for like 2 years. And then recently I wanted to challenge myself with like writing a play that could be easily transcribed to a stage, or audio play that could be transcribed to a stage play. So I just started like really honing in on those topics, like the big house, like the slammer, what happens when you realize that you're a part of it, the bottom of the barrel, like crabs in a bucket. And then from there, it just spiraled out into how can I tell this story with the least amount of resources.
Right, and even just to add to the part about the, like, when you were just, like, based off, like, no resources, I remember that story, and it does give, like, now that I know, it does give very much Pixar, like, something that would be really good, and, like an animated setting, so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's still there, and I even put in, like, the Google photos, like, the old version, because I don't want to completely get rid of that
even,
work.
like, I like Disney and some of their, like, I forget who wrote those fairy tales, like, the emperor who lost his pants and all that whole book of fairy tales.
Yeah.
I like those stories just because it's not even the characters, it's not even like them having to do the same thing. It's just the moral of like, what was this about type thing. So like even like that being animated and kind of like in a different setting, taking that moral of this big house and putting it to that one, it would, still translate where you could still do all of that, but having that same moral, like, of being in something and getting out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's you see the vision. Yeah. Like I you see the vision. No, that's exactly it. Like how, and then we can just keep retelling these stories and remixing them all down the line. But it has a good moral to it, like, it has a good moral to it. Yeah. But yeah, that was the space that I was in, and just how, I don't need $1 billion and 1 billion people to write a play or to make something. So, I think I accomplished that. I think I achieved that. Just real quick. And I'm glad to have you a part of it.
Yeah. Another question. So after this, do you think that you would do more of like these? Because I talked about this to someone like, oh yeah, like I'm in this play or whatever. Like they don't watch Flight, they don't watch nobody, so it's just like they wouldn't even. Right. I'm just telling them like, oh yeah, I picked up a. They don't know. Yeah, so it's like just something off the street. And when I was explaining it to them, they were like, oh, that's a little Twilight Zone-y. So would you continue on with those type of stories, like whether it's the same guy that's going into these different places, or like
I want to say yes and yes. I think maybe I heard two questions because I was like so fascinated just by that concept, because I have been like ruminating on that idea of like, I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to continue to be a part of plays, especially, but that was it. And then this play is a part of a series called Lost Dogs Chase Tales, which is a play on words, this idea of like, starting from myself and just kind of like tracing back like memories, especially like bullshit memories of like working at jobs I fucking hated, like, and then how can I, instead of just like blabbering from the mouth of like how much I hated it, like let me make a moral out of it, never go back to that job or never be in that space again, and then move on. Or
have something completely different happen just with that environment, like that just being the environment.
And making that like, and that's a lot of just like where I'm creating work from, is like everything comes from within. I don't need to like meet this person, meet that person to write a play. I have my bullshit memories and my crazy ass brain, and then I can make a story from there. But yeah, this is an ongoing series, this audio play, and then like more audio plays, because, and especially kind of like living in that space of like a little confusion. Yeah. Like a little like what is this?
What's going on, right?
Yeah, and not giving too much of like a narrator or like giving the audience like a helping hand, like allowing them to be like involved and invested in all those sounds, and then creating what they want. I was
about to say, because the sounds is very stimulating, whereas though like now like, you know how like when you talk to somebody or whatever, they like, oh, this chick a little weird. Like now it gives like, it helps that vibe where it's just like, oh, okay, you think I'm weird. Like that's the good weird. But
I'm a little crazy.
Like she right, I'm a little crazy. I listen to audio
like
plays.
As an aesthetic.
But now he's like, yeah, because my chick listen to audio plays. Like,
she got voices in her
right.
head. That's my voices. Right. But no, yeah, it's definitely something, because it's so it's so accessible, like for all folks, who hearing, and then it's also easy to produce. And I was saying that too, like, and then my goal is just to, have a bunch of stories and then just get people excited to participate. Yeah. Again, like I tried to do, and I don't know if you heard, like my one, I tried to like voice a bunch of different characters. It just did not work. Like it just, I can't do this alone.
Which one was that? What's the title?
Tanya's Family Unit. It was a while back. It was super bootleg. I did like I was like all the characters.
Why? So like you trying to like tell me about some Nigerian movie on YouTube? Like I don't know.
It's all good. No, but it's still up on YouTube. But it was just really terrible. And I say that to say like I cannot do this without other people. So it's like I'm making my duty to like. To get people involved is like such a huge favor and a blessing. So I'm just like, damn, like that's how we make it happen. Even
like some child acting, opportunities. Like as you go, if you needed like a child, just to not. I'm thinking about for Elliot, but like just like so many like lines or whatever. That is just like I can clearly be like, Mama say this in the, and she's like going along with it because I think that. Once the full version come out and she listens to it, just the sounds and stuff, because I already play like audio books in the car and they'll have like little things or whatever and it calms her down. Like,
that's awesome.
And I'm gonna just sit back and
that was
just
me when I was a kid. Yeah, so that's awesome that's still and I was just thinking about that too, just like the transferable skills that like acting and theater can have for kids, like confidence and speaking and that excitement of being a part of something too, that basic thing. So that was
learning about tone and things like that, because once you have the practice, like say it like this, say it like that, say it like you're sad, say it like you're mad, and then they're saying it like that.
That's so good.
And then hearing yourself back like, oh my gosh, that's what it. Because even me as an adult listening back, I did not think it was going to sound like that with all the audio and stuff. So imagining a kid like listening to themselves back and it's like rain and like I was sitting on a chair.
That was me. Right. It also made me think of like when folks say that like they don't like the sound of their own voice. So maybe I don't know if kids are still going through that. I hope they're not, but if they are, like even that, like hearing their voice, like
and that's a big thing because like speech pathology and speech therapy is like really heavy in schools where it'll just be like they'll say like children aren't like talking how like pronouncing their words a certain kind of way or like just saying things a certain kind of way.
Okay.
So it's just like be comfortable in how you say. Like if you still sound like a baby right now.
That's just how you sound. You don't gotta no other.
Now let's stretch it. Right. Let's stretch it.
Especially like depreciating thoughts. Like you don't have to depreciate your value. You have a good voice. You have a voice.
Yes.
But
some people don't have voices.
Some people do not have voices and wish they could speak. But but yeah, I'm just like really grateful. And I'm just nothing but excited. I can't wait for you to hear the full version.
Yes.
And then I can't wait for this is me shooting my shot if you be a part of other audio plays that happen in the future. Yeah, I would absolutely love that.
That's really fun.
But all right, that's all from me.
All right, that's all I have.
All right, we're here with Dreama Terra. Follow on YouTube and Instagram. I am Jam Boom Boom. And by this time, the Big House should be out by now. I'll post this when it comes out. But cool. Go check out the Big House audio play starring Dreama Terra, Just Be Free, Jackie New, Iman Journey, and it's audio engineered by Montana Menardez. We out.
Bye.
Yes.
That was